What is going on, guys? Jack here. You might be wondering why I'm doing an intro over a black screen. The answer is that this is a re-upload of an episode that had bad audio. The audio is fixed in this version. This is going to be unlisted. I'm having to record a little bit of a slightly different intro to the video in order to prevent YouTube from just rejecting the upload as a duplicate. So yeah, don't worry, regular episode after this. Apologies for the fact the first video wasn't ideal of this version. Much more explained in the next episode, which you may have already seen at the time of hearing this. Anyway, to leave you guys, I'll leave you with a fantastic joke. What did one tomato say to his friend who was also tomato who got hit by a car in the road? Try and catch up. Right, let's move on. Enjoy the episode. I'll see you later. What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to Lyon Live. It is episode number 62 today. We're going to be covering the end of Season 3 officially, and we're getting into the summer of Season 4. So hopefully you guys are good. Of course, this is going to be one of those episodes where there isn't so much in the way of games to talk about. Rather, it's going to be more chilled out. There might be a bit more thinking. You guys, I think, know the deal by now. It's not our first rodeo. In fact, it's our fourth summer here at the club, which is kind of crazy to think about. I will say before we get too far into today's episode, of course, we have been starting the save in the Canadian Premier League. It's been going really, really well. I've been enjoying it. I'm sure I'll talk about it a little bit during today's kind of episode. But for those of you concerned about Lyon Live, don't worry. This series is still going to be coming your way. Just with the first weekend of a new series, I kind of wanted to just put a bit more focus into that. But it's out the door now. It's well underway. If you want more FM action, I do recommend checking it out. And we're back to continue with Lyon Live. So anyway, here, we'll start with the end of season awards. That's when you know you're at the end of FM pre-season or the end of the FM season. It's when all the team meetings and all these items come in. This for me is like the cut-off point where it's like, right, it's time for the new year. It starts to really settle in. You can see here, in terms of our Dream 11, perhaps indicative of how poor Ndombele has been. Fekir has been shifted back into centre defensive mid, and Danny Olmo, by some miracle, he finds himself at centre attacking mid in our team of the year. Which, I mean, I don't know how that works, but fair play, I guess. He's done okay playing for the reserve team, but yeah, weird one that. You can see the rest of the kind of awards here. Fekir, player of the season, not entirely surprising really, is it? 12 goals in the league, 10 assists in the league as well. Really has been a rock of our team yet again this year. I have no doubt that over the course of the next few episodes, we're going to have a fair bit of interest in him to fend off. In terms of signing of the season, interestingly, Coman did get the award. I was worried that we'd horrifically overpaid for him at £72 million, but to be fair, he's chipped in with a comparable contribution to Fekir. 14 goals, 12 assists, 7.32 average rating. I feel like he's come in and he's almost lived up to the billing. I feel like it was almost going to be impossible for him to live up to that price tag. But he's got Young Player of the Season, signing of the season as well. He's done good. You can see here, Trincao got Goal of the Season. Let's take a look at this one. I don't know if I can remember this. It must have been towards the end of the season. Indeed it was, and it was that free kick. Okay, end of season awards in FM are always interesting. If you can remember a different goal from this season that was better, feel free to let me know it down in the comments. In terms of the end of season review, obviously, we did a treble of sorts. The Coupe de la Ligue, the French Cup, the two domestic French competitions, and the Club World Championship. A little bit poor in the league, very disappointing in the Champions League as well, but it wasn't exactly a complete write-off of a season. You can see here, dressing room atmosphere is fantastic. The players love me as well. Team meeting, I mean, we need to be winning the league, don't we? We need to be winning the league, and the players completely agree, which is good. Why have some of the players gone instantly down to being in the red? That makes no sense. Answers on a postcard. Everyone reacted well. It shows them all in green, but some of them have gone to abysmal. Weird. Football manager things, eh? You can see here, in terms of players who have kind of been injured this year, we've been fortunate in the sense that we've had a few injuries, but in areas where we've been able to deal with them. You know, Trincao's been out for a while, Bertrand Traoré, Memphis Depay as well. They've missed a fair bit of time between them all. You can see in the case of Depay, 6 separate injuries. It is for that reason that I'm not necessarily against selling Traoré and Depay if the right offers came in now. Interestingly enough, Traoré is wanted by PSG. let's offer him out and see if anyone's interested. Depay, another player who could potentially move on this year. Although his form in the league has been very, very solid and the fans do love him, I don't know. I feel like with some of the players we've got coming through, I just don't quite know if he's good enough. I know that might seem absolutely mad to say. I mean, how does he compare to someone like Trincao, who is probably, a similar player but on the other wing? I mean, you can see here, there's not a massive difference between them. Fekir probably does have the edge, but Fekir is also on 4 times as much money with a significantly larger value. And, of course, he does have a buyback clause in his contract, if I'm not mistaken, which could see him return to Manchester United if they were interested, which is still a lingering thought in the back of my mind. But anyway, let's get into this pre-season. I'm not sure entirely what to expect. Stadium expansion has been planned. We're going to add another 3,000 seats. I mean, that's good. Youth and training facilities going to be upgraded. Again, more good news there. We're doing all the groundwork here. Can we get like a better youth recruitment? I feel like it's already at the best it can be. Yeah, not a lot more we can request really here. If we just look at our finances, we've still got £42 million in the bank. So from a financial perspective, the club's still in an absolutely fantastic spot. If we look here, May of this year, we've got 49 million compared to, I wish I could see the months down here, but this scale doesn't show them. But I'm pretty sure if you were to compare it to, this point last year, it's pretty comparable, if not around the same. Of course, last year in the transfer window, we did make some sales, but not perhaps as many as people might expect. We made £76 million in sales. That, of course, was mostly through Tete and Denea leaving the club. 2 players who I don't feel like we really missed this year. And then obviously on the ends, we spent £107 million, but, well, the bulk of that was on Kingsley Coman and Militao. And besides those two, was really just about adding some strength in depth. In truth, we really didn't change the squad that much, did we, over the course of this season? It was pretty much the same team that won us the league the previous season. Anyway, one thing that is definitely worth just mentioning as a reminder is the fact that I have added in some more leagues. So we're going to have the Premier League, the Championship, Serie A and the Spanish First Division all being added in about a month or so's time. The reason for doing this is kind of simple. People have asked me, would you ever consider moving clubs? I may not have been up until this point, but it was interesting that people kind of mentioned it. People talked about, would you ever consider leaving Lyon? And it kind of has planted a little seed in the back of my head. And I did a poll on Twitter, just say, with Lyon Live, how would you feel about me, potentially moving on if the right opportunity came along? Okay, Georgia Lynn is happy to wait a season, which is good because I need him because he's homegrown in goal. But yes, when it comes to potentially moving on, I think it would have to be the right club. I think if I was to leave Lyon, I would almost certainly do a poll where I ask you guys, hey, here's the team that we've had an offer from. Do we go to them? We have achieved theoretically everything we can achieve here at Lyon in 3 seasons. I know we've obviously in the last year had a disappointing season and, some people might view it as unfinished business. And given how good our youth team is, maybe there is part of me that should stick it out here for decades to come. But, there's other leagues I've not managed in this year. I've not managed in Spain this year. I've not managed in Italy this year. In fact, Spain and Italy are countries that I've never managed in FM on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken. So those could be interesting options, but it would have to be the right option at the right time, We'll keep an eye out, is basically what I'm saying. And if I was to do anything, it would involve a poll. And I'm not saying that the poll would be the be-all or end-all, the thing that really defines whether or not I go or stay. If it was a 50-50 split, I'd probably trust my own instincts then as to whether or not it's the right opportunity. Anyway, we've got some players called up for international duty. It's the summer of 2021, so I'm trying to think what major international tournaments are going to be coming around. Of course, it's not long now until the Qatar World Cup, which is going to kind of completely wreck the training, not the training schedule, but the season schedule. You know how it is. A Winter World Cup is always a fun time, isn't it? Petrenko, still looking very, very good, the young Russian keeper. 18 reflexes, 16 one-on-ones. He's like a cat. Cats aren't good at one-on-ones, but cats have good reflexes. I feel like that's a stereotype. I am actually curious just to go to the job centre and see what's available. Of course, it won't show us any jobs outside of France until the leagues are added in. And by that point, a lot of the teams probably, if they were going to make managerial changes, you would have expected them to make them by now. Although I say that, Torino are there just sacking their manager. So maybe I'm talking rubbish. But no, really, my head is very much screwed on with, we're here at Lyon, I want to win the league again. But if Barcelona were in the relegation zones, we'd have to consider it, I feel like. But no, I have been thinking about Lyon Live. Like the interest in the series has dropped off a little bit, even before we obviously had the weekend off with the new series coming in. I know there's a hardcore group of you that are really loving this series, and I enjoy it as well. It's a fun time just to sit down, chill out, and just talk away. It's something that, in a weird way, is kind of therapeutic for me. And I want to keep doing it. But if there is a fall off of interest, I've asked about it in the comment section. I've seen what people have had to say, about the fact, you won the Champions League. I kind of felt like you'd achieved everything when you did, Jack, which is a fair enough comment, to be fair. And I kind of wish I hadn't won the Champions League as early as we did. But, with all of that in mind, there is part of me that wonders, is it worth, turning this into a live series where we do hop around clubs and live out a managerial career, amongst the top European domestic leagues? It could almost be a fun challenge in a way to, go between teams. And I know some people will say, well, Jack, why wouldn't you just, start a new save at that point? I feel like there's, some fun inconsistency and also seeing familiar names pop up. Maybe we could sign the likes of Shadas or Trincao or, some of the bigger players, some of the young prospects to our team, to see them flourish at other clubs after we've left Lyon could be interesting. Anyway, you can see here, commercial summary looks pretty good all in all. It looks like we made roughly the same amount as last year, barring prize money, but that was always going to be difficult to match last year's £90 million total, having won the Champions League. The board have injected £11 million. I love it. Can we vote for ourselves for manager of the season? We're not even in the running for manager of the season. I mean, Peter Bosch deserves it, and no one can convince me otherwise, and I'm going to tactically vote to give him the best chance, because he's managed to get Bordeaux to 4th in the league. He has been the best coach in the league, IMO. Also got them to the French Cup final where we beat them. Depay getting hit by injury, that is the ongoing concern with Depay, which is one of the reasons why I might not be afraid to move him on. He did have a good year this year, but the injuries do kind of add up. Moreno's dropped his team talk concern. That's good. Of course, he's got a few years left on his contract yet. Really, really rate Moreno, by the way, as a backup player. In FM, he's a very solid player. He's not world class. He's not the best player ever seen. But I feel like he's just very, very kind of consistently good. Anyway, not Manchester United. That's an awkward slip of the tongue. No, Liverpool are interested in Lenglet. His asking price is set to 80 million. It's kind of what I'd want for him to even consider selling him. He's such a core part of our first team at centre-back. You can see here we've got 30% of the Maulida transfer profit. Of course, we've just signed Maulida, so we're giving ourselves money, essentially, in signing him. But yeah, he is joining us. And actually, if we just compare him to Depay, because he plays on the same wing, so this is probably a better comparison. I mean, there's really not a great deal between them. Excuse me. Maulida's got better mentals, better speed, not quite as good with his vision and kind of, maybe raw creativity. Although actually he does have better vision than Depay. It's just the flair and passing that's slightly better, but Maulida is homegrown and can also play striker. Man, Maulida was a really good signing. I know not everyone was a fan of it, but for 21 million, we've got a player who over the last few years has proven to be like a player more than capable of playing at this level that we currently play at. And the fact he's homegrown is just a massive, massive kind of bonus as far as I'm concerned. I do feel like I need to move on Traore. He wants first team football. He's unhappy. Excuse me. Yeah, we're in it. I kind of want to transfer list him as well. But we are in a situation where I feel like we do need to move him on. He's got 1 year left on his current deal. Due to his unhappiness, he's probably not going to want to renew. Equally, the fact that he's only got 1 year left on his contract might mean we have to sell him for a little bit less than what I would otherwise want. Loan offer made for Kenny Lala. No, that ain't happening. That is not happening. No offers for Traore. We'll have to keep an eye on that. New Colombia star David Diaz has made his debut for the Colombia national team. He is such a blooming good centre-back. It really can't be understated. He's ludicrously good, isn't he? Great determination, very, very good tackling, great positioning, jumping reach is good, strength is good. I mean, those physicals on the whole are superb. He's 18. He's blooming 18. He looks so good. We're training him currently to play ball-playing defender. I really don't feel like there's a lot to add to that. He just looks great, doesn't he? He just looks blooming good. I guess we could add defensive positioning, but that might help his decisions out a little bit more, I guess. But he looks great. Ferland Mendy's picked up his first ever cap for France. That's more good news for us. I mean, it's all coming up Millhouse. All the good news is coming in. I'm pretty happy with where we're at right now. Of course, the domestic transfer window is just open. The actual international transfer window, I don't think opens for a little while. Is it the start of the month? Yeah, it is. And we do have a few players joining us, including Malcolm. Of course, we've got Malcolm joining. Okay, yeah. Bertrand Traore and Depay are done. I'm sorry. I know they've been good to us for our first 3 years. With the players we've got in this team and players like Gravenberch as well. Man, I really do need to, come the start of next month, work out what the hell we're going to do with our first team. I mean, we have such a good first team as well. I mean, it's a good problem to have. I mean, let's just think about this here. So, Fekir straight into the team at centre attacking mid. Biggest no-brainer in this entire team selection. Coman out on the right. Again, just a massive no-brainer, really. He's performed very well out on that side. You know, arguably we could play him on the left, but I'm not sure that's the right move. Goebbels has improved a hell of a lot this year. Look how many 14s and 15s this guy has. Again, he's kind of just instantly locked into the team at striker, and that means that Maulida just has to go on the left-hand side, which is absolutely fine. Man, I love the fact that our kind of best 3 players that you can see me instantly locking in here are all French. I really, really like that. Like, we've got such a good French core to this side. Eder Militao is just our star right back. Could debatably be the defensive midfielder in our team. But I feel like I like Toussaint too much in that position in the team. You can see Toussaint's just way better defensively, which also lends Militao to being a really good kind of more complete right back. Obviously Lenglet, great left-footed centre-back, French, yes, great. Ndombele is an interesting one because he is fantastic and he does perform okay, but he's not kind of superstar quality. You know, when we've discussed new contracts with him, he wants these superstar wages that I really don't feel comfortable giving him. He's still got 3 years left on his current deal. I'm curious to know how much he wants. So he now wants £83,000, which is more reasonable, but it's still a little bit more than what I really want to give him. And equally, I can't really up the wages that much more because of current budget constraints. Really, I need to identify players in our team who are good, but that I might have issues when it comes to, you know, basically fitting them in the wage budget for the role that they're actually going to offer the team. Ndombele, you are being a pain in the backside, my friend. He wants crazy bonuses. His agent is being an asshole. It's not happening. Pardon my French. I mean, he wants like close to £100,000, and he's good. And I do like him, but he's just not worth putting on the same payroll as some of the players who are at the highest earners at the club, in my opinion. Important to, you know, get the "in my opinion" in there. I do feel like we have a bit of a step down in these remaining positions. I mean, Anthony Lopez is very good in goal, to be fair. Not really got any complaints about him. 19 clean sheets. He kept clean sheets in half of his games this last season gone. That's pretty good there. I do wonder about the left-back position. Just because if we compare Mendy to Militao, you know, one side to the other side, I mean, you can see the gulf in quality difference there. Granted, Militao is a bit of a unique case because he's a bit more versatile than you'd expect. The way you can get up and down the pitch, and he's also so good in the air, means that he can play centre mid or centre back. Whereas Mendy, on the other hand, is just, you look at him and go, well, he's a fullback. He couldn't really do a lot more. Whereas Militao is just this weird, unique beast, I guess. And then we have centre back as well, where I think Wallace has this position locked down. I don't feel like that's an entirely kind of big surprise. You kind of compare these two guys. They're very complementary, to be fair. Lenglet's, you know, a bit more of a ball player. Wallace is just top drawer at centre-back. Yeah, if you were going to improve the team, I feel like left-back would be the position you turn to at this point. Let's put Mendy in for now, but I do feel like a new left-back could be in order. And if that happens, maybe we move on Moreno. Maybe I move on Mendy. I know that might not prove to be the most popular decision. You can see, looking at our starting 11 here, only 3 players that aren't French, and actually Anthony Lopez has secondary nationality of French as well. Anyway, we should sort out our bench while we're here. Lucas Romero is just the no-brainer there because of how versatile he is. Obviously, I don't play with the goalkeeper on the bench. In terms of centre-backs, Markovic is just the nailed-on player to be our bench centre-back. He's so good. And he can obviously play right-back as well, which is a nice little bonus. Moreno can be on the bench at left-back, I guess. I don't really like having 3 players dedicated to covering all kind of 3 defensive positions in terms of left-back, centre-back and right-back. But equally, Romero kind of doubles up as the ball-winning midfielder as well there. So it's just good coverage. Then we get onto the interesting position. Because obviously, Aouar has to be on the bench. It's just, it has to be done. Moise Kean has to be on the bench. And then you're looking at kind of how can we make this fit? Just for the sake of me sorting out things for now, and I know this is going to ruin some of my setup stuff, I'm going to move the youngsters who I rate but aren't good enough for the first team if we really want to challenge for the title out of the team. And you'll notice that I've kept Auger in there because, to be honest, he's probably worth just keeping around in the first team. He's so good. But, I don't know, when you look at the team like this, I don't feel like DJ's good enough as well, you know. Is that harsh, or is that just me being realistic? I feel like he needs to go out on loan. And if he doesn't develop this year, we've probably got to move him on. Lala at 29 is just the best third choice right back / left back I could hope for. He's always performed when we've called upon him, so I'm not that bothered about his star ratings. George Lynn is unhappy about his lack of first team football, but he's happy to stay on for 1 more year, so that kind of works out. Rajkovic has constantly been trying to set up mutinies at the club, which I'm not a massive fan of. But he is an okay backup goalkeeper in terms of he does what we need him to do. You could argue we're short of a centre-back here, but the thing is as well, I've got to remember, I've got reserves who are out on loan coming back. As if my headache wasn't big enough. I feel like Shadas, Gravenberch and Kanate are like the 3 players who we need to get into the first team. I mean, I'll say now, fantastic problem to have. I don't feel like we're going to get forward many days in today's episode. I need to warn you of that now. We might not even start making that many signings. Do you promote David Diaz to the first team? How does he compare to Kanate? Let's have a quick look, shall we? Where is Kanate? There he is. Kanate's a lot better. A lot better. I didn't realise how good Kanate is. I mean, defensively, we're fine. Maybe a left-back would be a good upgrade. Nanon can also play centre-back as well, although I kind of view him more as the centre-mid kind of alternative to Romero. He kind of fills the Glenn Kamara role in the team, but equally he's more than capable of playing centre-back if we need him to as kind of 5th choice. which I'm relatively happy with having a fifth choice centre-back as good as Gnanon is, who is also French. That is something that I would love to get is to a point where, you know, I mean, we're already pretty close to it, let's be honest, where just so much of our team is made up of French players. Anyway, I've got dilemmas to solve here on the bench, haven't I? Really, we're looking at the strength in depth in the wide areas and who we want to play. And also, we've got to weigh up the wages as well, I guess. Who is on too much money for the role they offer in the team? Our on 70k almost feels like too much as it is, but I needed to keep him on. Great young player, 4 years left on his deal now. I also want to kind of keep players like Saint-Maximin in the team just because they're French. I know that's a weird reason, but I kind of really like the fact that we have so many good young French players. Trincão's on such low wages. I mean, you look at it, Depay is the obvious one, and Bertrand Traoré is the other obvious one to get rid of. If we put Shadas on the bench, because he's so versatile as well, Shadas. How does he compare to Aouar? I'm just wondering. Excuse me. See, they're pretty comparable as well. That's the only issue, is they are quite similar players in terms of what they offer. But then, so is Olmo. Olmo's like the baby version of them both. I don't really want to get rid of Olmo because of how good a season he had. I feel like Depay and Bertrand Traoré are the two players I probably need to move on this year. Depay's still got quite a lot of time left on his contract. I'm just going to offer him out and see if anyone nibbles. I don't think we're going to get any offers until the start of July. But there's no harm in offering him out. See, if we put Trincão on the bench here, because between Aouar, who's right-footed, and Shadas, who's right-footed, we've got two players who can play out. Oh, in fact, Shadas is left-footed, but in terms of Aouar, he could play as an inside forward. In fact, it might even be worth training him to play there with a focus on shooting. Let's do that. We've tried training his quickness. I don't think it's made a difference, so let's mix things up. I mean, I'm pretty happy with that team on the whole. Even if we were to get rid of Traoré and Depay, we still have Saint-Maximin, we still have Dani Olmo, we still have Gravenberch who can play out wide, Trincão who can play out wide, Moise Kean who can play out wide. In some ways, I feel a bit kind of bad getting rid of two players who were here when we first came in and who have been pretty good, but at the same time, it's like if I wanted to get a source of income from somewhere, they're the players you'd want to, you know, look at as those options. Also, when you now look at this team, in terms of the players who we have here, look at their expiry dates. Moreno's expires in 2 years, but the vast majority of the rest of our team expire in 3 to 5 years' time, their contracts. Leaves us in a really, really healthy spot where I don't have to worry about losing these players if I don't want to lose them. Oh my gosh, Metz have turned around the playoffs to win 3-1 and relegate Saint-Etienne. Wow. That's pretty huge. Players like Ruffier are going to want to jump ship if they're getting relegated down. How have they got relegated? They've got such a good team. There is no way in hell that they should ever be getting relegated. He's a pretty good region. Let's get a scout report on you. How? I mean, that's mad. Part of me's like, Saint-Etienne would be a good save. The other part of me's like, can you imagine? Lyon legend leaves to go to their rivals who have been relegated and try and promote them. There would be riots in the street. Man, their team is way too good to have got relegated. Holy crap. Plus like MVA, he's only 30. Morotan, great wonder kid this year in FM. I really do like this guy a lot. No, he's on loan from Arsenal. I was about to say, he's way too good. I feel like we already did that once before. I feel like I've fallen for that trap twice. Man, I am surprised that St Etienne have got relegated. Depay asked to discuss future. Cabals, can you resolve this? So he's going to be concerned that we're trying to get rid of him. Can't find room for you in the team. He's highly influential. I can promise him that I'm not going to sell him, but then if I do sell him, it's going to dent a lot of players' trust in me to break a player's promise. Equally, if I tell him my mind's made up, he could start a mutiny. But dressing room atmosphere is so good, and his morale is already crap, it's not going to get worse. I'm just going to tell him it's the right thing to do. Also, daily reminder, auto saves, saves. If you don't have auto saves on, please put them on. I see stories of people who get, the error message, the save game cannot be loaded when, they might accidentally close the game while it's saving the game. They might turn off the laptop, power cut, whatever it is. Just go to your preferences, go to here, tick auto saves and either put it on rolling saves. I recommend 5 or 10, or if you've got a big hard drive, just do what I do. New save file for every auto save. I can't stress that enough. Like, it's just do it. There's no harm in it at all, other than filling up some hard drive space. And if you're putting hundreds of hours into a save game, I think it's best to back it up. Okay, so Depay's injury might be causing him issues, but that should be not a factor come the start of July. Militao's picked up the Best Rookie Award, I guess, as a newcomer to the league. Pavon has got the most assists. Coman came second on 12. Lopez got Goalkeeper of the Season. Again, another reason not really to need to replace him. Wallace and Lenglet both got in the centre-backs this season. That's really impressive. Fekir and Coman also did well. How good's Tielemans? Very good is the answer. I'm going to get a scout report. I like the look of him. Pellegrini's also doing well. Not entirely surprising. They might feel like selling Gabels was the right move now. You can see when you compare these two guys, Gabels maybe has the edge. I don't think we could sign Pellegrini even if we wanted to. Although, he's not got the highest value in the world. I could make an offer. I bet they asked for like 100 million. 195. Yeah, that ain't happening. Lopez dedicates his award to us. Mikhail Kassan has committed his immediate future to the club. Lovely stuff. I'm just curious. Lauria Abul, he was the hot prospect in our first youth intake. He still looks pretty good, to be fair to him. And then last year's was Nick Tuns, who, again, looks very, very solid. I feel like that's probably the tagline you could give our under-21s. Very solid. I almost feel like it's worth doing it at this point, but I am going to quickly, while we're here, because I might forget otherwise, just going to release all the players with contracts expiring at the end of the year. We'll pay the £6,000 to get rid of them now. Is there anyone in the reserve team of a similar mould? There is. I feel bad because these are all guys who are part of the Lyon Academy in real life. But I just don't have spots for them in my team. They're just probably going to be the kind of players who want to stay on at the club, work on a non-contract basis where it's an expired deal. It just causes all kinds of issues where I want to get rid of them later. So we'll pay the extra few thousand to get rid of them now. Sochaux have been promoted. Love that. Metz and Rem also teams promoted to League for the coming year. Monaco are apparently chasing Fekir. Are you now? Well, you're going to have to put in a good offer. I'm talking like 100 million plus. As much as Monaco perhaps do have money to throw around, I don't feel like they have the kind of money required to sign Fekir from me to throw around. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're going to come out and open up a massive suitcase full of cash. We'll have to wait and see. European club rankings, we are 12th in Europe. Ligue 1 remains in 5th. Did we drop down in the European coefficients? Please look at the rankings here. Oh, this is reputation. But if we actually look at... do we go here? Oh, maybe we have dropped down to 5th. We've also, although apparently we've been 5th all the time. Oh, this is reputation. That completely ignoring my point. What I wanted to look at was coefficient spots. For some reason, I thought that that thing there was the coefficient spots, but apparently not. So if we just look here, clubs, coefficients. That's not what I want it for nations. Nation club coefficients. Yeah, we're 4th here. Comfortably 4th as well. Kind of. It's a bit close, but we are still 4th. So we are going to hold on to our current allocation of Champions League spots. Marin's another interesting player who obviously had that long-term injury first year. Didn't have the most successful loan spell at Nice. I might potentially look to move him on if the right opportunity arose. Mario Ferreira is another option who we could have in the team next year if we were able to shift on Depay and Bertrand Traore. Cacaret probably needs another loan spell. To be fair, Brest gave him some pretty good football. And he has improved at them. Maybe we can find a better club for him. I would love to loan out a load of players to Sochaux, because they have really good youth facilities. Playing in our division as well this year could be a really, useful thing. Tell you one player who I'm not afraid to re-loan out, Durand. I wonder if Lyon are going to want him for another year. I feel like they probably will. He was their starting goalkeeper for them. It was a really beneficial loan spell. Really, really was. Yeah, they do want to extend it. Fantastic. They're probably sat there thinking, yeah, £600 a week for this goalkeeper, sure. It's crazy how low his wages are. Harvey want Duku on loan. No. No. Just not going to use up one of my loan spots on him. I'm sorry. Cacaret playing for the French under-21s. Gabel's playing for them as well. Didn't have a game to remember, unfortunately. Of course, all these young players playing on international duty like this is going to help their development. Playing football at a higher level than perhaps club level. PSG have made an offer for Rulli. And they've not offered a great deal, and they've accepted it. Man, I am tempted to go in for him, Would it be harsh on Lopez? Perhaps, but with that shot-stopping distribution and communication for 13 million? I feel like it'd be wrong not to go in for him at that price. Don't know whether or not we can realistically duke it out with PSG for wages, but we can try. He wants to win the Champions League by 2023-24. Yeah, we can do that. Romero, can you endorse the move? He loves playing for the club. He'd have no complaints. Apparently, he really is open to the opportunity to sign for us. Correct answer. Okay, he wants £120,000 a week. He is very good. I don't know if we'll go through with this deal. I just want to know if we can beat PSG for him. He is a blooming incredible keeper, though. He really is. That is the... I know when you look at the polygon, it kind of looks semi-comparable, but physicals and speed for a goalkeeper, eccentricity for a keeper. I look at the technicals for a goalkeeper, and I look at that and think, upgrade, potentially could move Lopez on for some money then. If we sign Rulli, I don't think we can match PSG, and that's the issue. But for 13 million, it's worth it. PSG make Fekir offer. I want 150 million, please. Fekir's not happy. I mean, I'm not entirely surprised, but I want good money for you. I'm disappointed you priced me out of a move to PSG. This is my big chance for a move to play alongside bigger players. You need to be more realistic with your asking price. I don't want to sell you for less than your market value. You're being unfair here. I came and spoke to you as a courtesy, but I've got no intention of letting you hold my career back. I'm going to tell them I'll be more reasonable. He's handed in a transfer request. I think £115 million is reasonable. He's homegrown. He's been the pillar of our team. Granted, Coman did pick up a little bit of the mantle. But we paid £72 million for Coman. Be interesting to see if anyone comes close to the asking prices. You can see here the League review. Toulouse, the big overperformers, biggest underachiever, Saint Etienne, not entirely surprising. Opening fixtures for the season look pretty kind on the face of it. Brest, Toulouse, Rennes, Nice, Dijon could definitely be worse. Going to receive £14 million. All of our links have been terminated because we've not been using them. It's fair. It's fair. We haven't. So I can't blame the board for not wanting to keep those agreements going. I mean, theoretically, if I didn't sell or buy anyone, this would be a good squad for the year. I don't know if it would fit within the registration limits for everything. It'd be close. Although, actually, when it comes to the league, you can just have a load of players registered. The big concern would be in Europe. Could just go with this team. Could just not do anything all summer. Could just sit on my hands. Just watch the season go by. It's an option. We'll weigh it up. Duran's loan extension set to be confirmed. That is good news. Dijon want Ramos on loan. Ramos, of course, we brought in on a free transfer a year and a half ago. I was really hoping to sell him on for some cash. Let's lower the asking price a little bit and just see if anyone nibbles. Even if we just get like 4 million for him, it'd be good. Came in on a free. What was the intention was to sell him on. Durand extends his loan. That is good news. Confederations Cup. Plenty of representatives there. That's what I want to see. We'll get scout reports on them. We'll keep an eye on their performances. Gravenberch doing well. De Jong doing well. Yuri Tillemans, estimated cost 28 to 36 million. He is good. Very similar to a lot of other players that we have. Donnarumma is blooming good, isn't he? He's mental. He puts Rulli to shame. Does he put Rulli to shame? He does put Rulli to... I mean, that is mad how good Donnarumma is. Doesn't really surprise me how much he's on. Can I ask the board to sign him? No. Even they know he's unrealistic. Who knows? Maybe if we could sell Fekir, Traore, Depay, then we just spend like 200 million on him and it's fine. Georgilin's having a testimonial. Lopez is having... Well, all our goalkeepers are having testimonials. No offers for Francisco Ramos. Can you force a move? Your time at the club's over. Yeah, jog on. So you'll notice that there's some players here who automatically have loan bids rejected. The reason for that is, of course, last year we had the issue where we hit the domestic loan limit and we kept getting all these offers, so I just set them to auto-reject. A lot of these players you're seeing the loan bids come in for are players I don't want to loan out because I don't want them filling up one of my domestic loan spots, particularly with some of the newer, regens we've got coming through. They're the players that I really want to have, out on loan. And so for that reason, I'm gonna just leave it on automatically rejecting them. PSG make another Fekir offer. 77 million non-negotiable is still not very good. I've hit stall on the offer there. They're going to love it when I stall it and then reject it. Joseph Johnson apparently could be of use to our first team. That's generous. Lala is not available for loan, so we can reject all those offers. I'm going to offer Fekir out for what I think he's worth, which is 115 million, and we'll see if anyone nibbles. Now, there's Premier League money. It's silly money. I do not like that bid enough. And he is not going to be happy about it, and I don't care. We've got a sell-on clause in Cognat's clause. We can sell it for 300... Oh, 300... Yeah, go on then. I don't think we're likely to make much on the sell-on clause for him. Fakir's, I mean, mate, it wasn't good enough. The finances weren't right. 120 million. 80, I mean, come on. Meet me in the middle somewhere. 100 million. Still not good enough. I mean, this could be the summer where me and Fakir, like, the romance is over. The bromance is dead. The honeymoon period is over. You know, we've been here long enough. It's all crumbling apart. Rulli set to sign for PSG. They've actually offered him less money per week. I'm a little bit miffed about that he's decided to go to them, but I guess that's what we get for not winning the league. That's an annoying one because that's a really good price. And it just adds more strength to PSG. And they've got Trapp and Areola. I mean, that's it's a position that they probably needed an upgrade in, and they've got it. I don't know why I'm speaking out the corner of my mouth. It's annoyance, I guess, taking over me. Who are these players? Do I know you? I don't, is the answer. Right, we're getting towards the start of July. That's when I expect to see the offers coming in from Premier League teams. The domestic transfer windows are open at the moment, which is why we're getting, you know, some of these domestic offers from PSG and for Fakir. But there are other teams interested. And honestly, I would really rather not sell. Also, you can see here about jumping reach. You can pause it and learn all about jumping reach there, because I know that's something I always get asked about. The UK is set to leave the European Union. Okay, there is no changes. There you go. Brexit, everyone. Right, we've had a bid of £4.5 million for Ramos. That is fine. You can have him for that, Swansea. We brought him in to sell him on. We're selling him on. We're making some pennies. Not as much money as I dreamed we could make, but it'll do. Another player who fits in a similar mould there is Nkunku, who I would also quite like to sell on. We'll see if anyone comes in for him. £3.5 million is not a big amount of money. I anticipate that people should be interested in him at that price. That is value in the market. Lots of our players involved again, including Tizzy and Moise Keane. I guess they're playing alongside each other, which is kind of cool. In fact, it looks like they got subbed off for one another because they both played half a game as strikers. And Gabels continues to improve and continues to enjoy first-team international football, which is good. You can see here, bids made for... I mean, this is funny. FC Edmonton. Our boys. They're making offers. Who are they going in for? They're going in for Miller. He's pretty good. I back you. Go on the Eddies. No offers for Nkunku. Not ideal. Probably should have asked him to try and force a move. Of course, we've got Karamo and Jovic coming as well, but I see those as kind of players, again, similar to Ramos, who we will bring in with very much the intention of, let's just try and sell him on for a bit of money down the line. Unfortunately, Luka Jovic, we're playing on the pre-winter update database, and due to that, I guess, and also the fact he's just not had a great time in Portugal, he's just not really developed, unfortunately. Tuati, loan offer, yeah, not happening. Jovan Markovic has become homegrown at club. I mean, it's good news, I guess. He's an okay striker. Probably never going to be good enough for the first team, but we'll keep faith that he might come good. Trincao, homegrown at club. Love that. That's what I want to see. And Eze playing for Nigeria's B team against the USA. I mean, that's what dreams are made of, folks. Nigeria, I didn't know Nigeria had a B team, but there you go. PSG mate Dominguez's offer. I don't like it. Oh, that's bad. That probably means they're not going to go in for Fakir now. Dominguez is really good. He's that regen we've been looking at. If they get him as well, the world's just not fair. Welcome back to pre-season, boys. Excellent. Everyone loves me. Montpellier is wanted by DJ. We can turn off automatic rejection of loans on this guy because I do want to loan him out for the year if we can. I would like all of his wages covered, although it's not a massive amount of money. And everything else here is good. Apparently Toussaint would make a better choice as captain. My captain, my captain. Who's our current captain? Is it Lopez? That's bad that I don't know my current captain. I think it's Lopez. No, it's Fekir. Fekir, who's been trying to engineer a move. You know what, mate? You're getting demoted. No. Fekir for Toussaint. Yep. You can deal with it, Fekir. Don't worry, you can be vice captain, lol. He's going to come and complain to me about that, ain't he? Oh, Coman's spoken out. When did I name Fekir as captain? Did I change that recently without realising? Am I an idiot? Loan offer from Brest is okay. It's the only one that guarantees him a starting spot in the league this year, which is kind of what I want, so we'll accept that. Could loan him out to Montpellier in the league below us, but I don't see the value in that. Disappointed in Kingsley Coman, speaking out about me. You got a problem, come say it to my face. New Nigeria B star. Well done, Eze. Well done. Nigeria B. Where dreams are made of. Where dreams are made of. It's what dreams are made of, or where dreams are made, Jack. You've muddled up two sayings there. We're getting close to the start. Rajkovic is talking about wanting to leave. Toussaint, if you can make him stay, great. If you can't, I'm kind of happy to let him go because he's been a pain in my arse. Let's move you on. It's a shame. Rajkovic used to be very good in FM, and actually he's still pretty good. But he has been in the back rooms kind of backing everyone who speaks out against me. I think he's a bad seed, you know. He's the naughty schoolboy of the class, and if we can get rid of him for some money, great. Maybe that's harsh. Maybe I'm being too ruthless here about players. I feel like there's no room for sentiment here. If there was, I mean, I've got Malcolm joining. I've got to start selling attacking midfielders by the start of this month. Rajkovic has had some offers made. No one wants to pay the full amount, which is kind of typical. A few teams are offering 1.3 million, a few more offering the 2.5 I've asked for. I don't really want to pay any of his wages, but if I have to, Genk, you can have him. Or Dynamo. Either of those two. Deportivo want us to contribute way too much to his wages for my liking. Okay, Depay's fit, so if we offer him out again, maybe people will be more interested in him. We'll wait until the start of July when the international transfer market opens, because I think that will impact how many people are interested in some of our players. Belotti completes Milan move. He is pretty good, isn't he? He is pretty good. 51 million. Good signing by PSG. To be fair, they still sold him on for money, which is kind of impressive. Okay, Auger's contract's up at the end of the year. Yep, we're renewing that, and I'm happy to give you the keys to the city. But I do want the optional contract extension locked in. But I'll give you more money in your actual wages, and you're gonna love me for it. He didn't love me for it. That'll do. I can't be bothered to negotiate with him because it's such a pitiful amount of money for the quality of player that he could be. We can trigger a few contract extensions here, so we'll do that. Bull needs a new contract. Again, I'm going to include the optional 3-year extension. I realise I've removed his kind of after league games. Here's a certain amount of kind of contract raises. Feli's contract's also expiring. He's already on quite a lot of money. 3-year extension for him. I do like Felly, but I'm not convinced compared to some of the other players that he is necessarily going to be a player who makes it in the first team. Papon as well. Contract is expiring. Really like Papon, actually. He's been a bit under the radar, I feel like. I've not had my attention drawn to him that much. It's always a nice surprise, isn't it, when you have a few players who, you know, they're developed into 10 out of 10s overnight, and you've missed it, but you're grateful for it. Right, he's been a pain in the ass with the negotiations, but I'm just gonna deal with it. Schmidt, we've triggered a contract extension. Grange can go. Tituan Thomas. He's good, but he's just not really developed, so I'm not going to renew his contract right now. Tuati as well. You know, two players. We'll review them, you know, later on in the year and see if they've improved any more. But as they currently look, not loving it. Not feeling happy meal about them. That makes no sense. But it was meant to be like a McDonald's reference. You know, ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I'm loving it. Yeah, you know the deal. You can hear my musical talent shining through there. But yeah, I failed that reference horrifically. Anyway, we've got a load of staff here wanting pay rises, which is a bit of a pain because I don't really want to give them. But I am going to try and make it so all their contracts are extended as long as we need them, because to be honest, I'm pretty blooming happy with our current kind of setup. You'll notice that I am giving them slight decreases on what they're asking for, but compared to what they were on before, it is a little bit more in most cases. You got players like Uras here who's on 2.6. He's just not going to take 2.6. If I go to around 2.8, 2.9, he'll take it. So that is what we're doing right now. And like the world's quickest negotiator, I realised I could just ask my director of football to negotiate all of these, but I'd rather get, you know, these coaches on just really long-term deals and not have to worry too much about things. Just how I like to deal with things. I know there's some people who like to constantly review their staff. You know, like they're running some multi-million-pound empire where there can't be any dead wood on the ship. I'm a little bit more like, if you're doing your job half well, then it's fine with me. DJ's agreed to go out on loan. That's good news. Hopefully he can benefit off that. Tonali, interesting to see that he's made the move to Juventus. They signed him for 11 million from, is it Brescia? I think that's how you'd say it. Or Brescia. And this is on a postcard. He's not valued that highly. I'm curious how much they ask for him if I make a bid. Only 35 million. I mean, theoretically affordable, but I don't know why we'd ever sign him other than the fact that he is a good-looking player. Maybe we should be just having a look at who's on the transfer list. Are there any big names? I mean, we've got a little bit of money to spend. If we want to do so. You know, if we want a left-back, we could get a 33-year-old Marcel. What is that polygon? If I saw that, I'd be like, advanced playmaker. You know, a Raquelme-style player. No, that is Marcelo. His physicals have fallen off a cliff. Vinicius Jr. is transfer listed still. Still transfer listed. Man, why am I wanting to go in for him? I already have too many attacking midfielders. Someone stop me. I guess it's because I know how good he can be. There's some pretty highly valued players transfer listed. There's actually a lot of players transfer listed here. Players like Maximilio Gomez could be good. Luan's transfer listed. Aaron Martin. I mean, he's a pretty good left back. I'm curious, how do you compare to Moreno? I feel like there's actually not as much difference between them as there might be at first glance. Better defensively, maybe slightly better going forward, but Moreno's quicker. Richelli Bazar's an interesting one. He was so hotly tipped to me. I've not really heard a lot from him since he made his move. Because I remember him going from Ajax to Wolfsburg, but I've not heard a great deal about him. I'm sure people will tell me all about how he's the best player in the world now. And I know nothing about world football. It's usually what happens. Duarte's okay, but he's not exactly kind of Militao level left back. Maybe that's an unfair standard to be trying to hold players up against, but what can I say? I'm a man with high expectations. Let's look at players transfer listed with a max age of 23. Just see if there's any crazily good players here. Not really. Other than Vinicius Jr. Bed Woodburn, Twanzembe. They're okay players, but they're not going to push to the level that we need. I keep getting drawn to Vinicius Jr. I can't help it. Let's get to the 1st of July. I realise that we're coming up to the hour mark here, so maybe this is a good spot to end things, for now at least. You know, start the transfer window, just opened. Tell you what we'll do. We'll deal with Karamo, Jovic and Malcolm and take things from there. Manchester City declaring interest in Langley. It's not what you want to hear on the first day of the window, is it? Let's be honest. There's a few positions where I do want to get players. It's not one of them. Juventus are chasing Fekir. I mean, it sounds a bit stalkery when it's put like that, isn't it? Let's just go forward to when our players join us. Or have they joined us and I've missed it? Maybe I missed the news in box item. You can see here lots of contracts starting to get sorted. Freitas is joining us soon. Yeah, he is joining us soon. He's joining us in August. Another young player who I've got to try and fit in the team somehow. And also Rodrigo Antonio. Really love the look of this guy. Partially Spanish as well. So we don't have to worry about registering him. He's tearing it up for the Brazil national youth team. 5 goals and 16. Maybe that's not tearing it up, but it's pretty good. And Freitas is also chipping in with a decent contribution. So we have just had a few more players join us. If we just look at them, I feel like they're going to be down here. So Karamo we've brought in as just kind of a player we signed on a free. So he's going to go down to the reserves immediately. Luka Jovic, you can see here, don't get me wrong, he's not a bad player. And I know in real life he's bloody incredible. But in Football Manager terms, he's not all that, is all I'm going to say. Again, I kind of want to loan him out again this year. Potentially outside, you know, of our current sphere of clubs as well. You know, if there was a team who came in for him outside of France, wouldn't be against loaning him out. With us adding in a few more leagues, we might expect to get some more loan offers from teams like Sevilla. Yeah, you can see here they want him as a first-team player. Stuttgart are interested as well as a first-team regular. Did I add Germany as playable? I can't remember what leagues I added and which I didn't. I didn't add Germany as playable, so Stuttgart might not actually be the best option for him. Did they qualify for European football or something? They did not. I'll tell you what, knowing that Sevilla are interested, I'm going to reject all unresponded offers. Because I think that Sevilla loan is probably the best one for him. You know, he joins us on a free, he's going to go there. They're going to cover all of his wages. And as a first-team regular playing for them, I think that could be beneficial. Sevilla, not a small team by any means, of course. They won the Europa League back-to-back. Was it 3 years in a row they won it, or just the 2? I'm not 100% sure. I think it might have been all 3. Militao playing against France. Fekir playing against Brazil. He only played 15 minutes, bless him. Right. I'll tell you what I'm going to do to end today. I'm going to offer out Depay, and we'll see if anyone's interested in him next time. Out. 65 million. Bertrand Traore, where art thou? Offer you out for 40 million. I'm wondering if there's any other players I should sell. Let me know what you think of the squad situation down in the comments. Obviously, you can pause it, take a look through things a little bit more. There's no denying that we do have a big squad. Rajkovic is going to be down. Jovic is going to be down a squad as well when he's loaned out. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're in a situation where I don't really want to sign too many players without moving other players on. Saint-Maximin valued at 56 million. I don't know any club that would even be remotely interested in paying that for him. He did awfully last year, to put it frankly. I'm going to offer him out for 60 and see if anyone nibbles. we'll go fishing. But I've rambled on for long enough here. We'll find out if there's any offers for them, and then we'll leave it on a cliffhanger. No offers for free players. I mean, that could be the summary of the transfer window again, where we just don't have offers for players. Fekir, I mean, Atletico Madrid want him on loan. Not Fekir, sorry, Depay, Traore, PSG minor interest in a transfer. Saint-Maximin, Everton interested in a loan. These are not solving my problems, guys. They are really not. Right. I think we'll end things here for now. I'm pretty happy with where we're at as a squad. Obviously, it'd be nice to make a few more additions, but I feel like Maulida as an addition is good, and given how young our squad is, I almost feel like in a situation where we can kind of just wait and see how things develop over the course of the year. Maybe that's a too laid-back attitude, knowing that PSG are signing the likes of Rulli. Maybe I do need to be a little bit more proactive in the market. Maybe I need to be looking more at who's transfer listed, potentially more at players with contracts expiring in a year. You know, is there anyone who I could get for massively below their asking price? Because teams want to cash in on them. I mean, if we just look, players with contracts expiring in a year, are there any big players here who we should be considering signing? You know, could we bring back in Lacazette? A lot of these players, you know, in their 30s. I'm kind of looking for players in their kind of mid to early 20s, I feel like. No, or older than 27 or 28, really. Doesn't feel like there's a great deal of players that tick those specific boxes. But anyway, I've rambled on for long enough. I do hope you've enjoyed today's episode, guys. If you have, do drop a like on it. Let me know what you think of the idea of potentially, you know, the option down the line of moving between teams. It's not something I'm completely against. You can see here some of the teams in current need of a manager. Apparently, loads of championship teams, interestingly enough. I'll let you guys decide what you make of that, but don't fancy a move down to the Championship, and unless there was like a massive team here, but there's only Leeds United, so yeah, point. That was unnecessary, Jack. Let's leave it there. I'm sorry, Leeds fans. You've had enough rough enough month. I feel bad. I'll end things here. I'm sorry. Yeah, if you've enjoyed today's video, drop a like on it. Let me know if you're still enjoying the series. Let me know as well what you'd make of the potential to move clubs. What would you do with our current first team situation? I want to know what you're saying. And, well, I will see you guys again soon. It is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.